All right, we're going to jump in a little quicker than most times, not because we don't want to keep listening to Michael Jackson, but more because we've got a lot to cover and some exciting guest speakers, some exciting announcements that we want to make sure that we have time for. Now, before we jump into these, I do want to mention that we're going to be sharing some exciting new news from the science side. And so make sure that if you have team members you're not seeing on this, copy the share link, send it over, let them know that we're going to be getting some juicy tidbits from our amazing one of our leads on the R&D team, Stephanie, who's been with us many times before, and we love that she's coming back and making this more regular appearance in our webinars. Lastly, for Spanish translation, just seleccionar español en el botón de interpretación, and you will be good to go on that. Now, let's jump into some of the announcements before we get to our science corner. So, first off, mint chocolate brownie Unimate, the decaffeinated version. Don't worry, it will be coming back. We'd hope that it'd be back already, but it's taking a little longer to get this fully into production and running. And so it's going to be probably a couple more weeks before we have this ready. Fortunately, because we turned off new sales, everyone who's been on subscription is still receiving that. And when your subscription renews, you're going to still be able to get your mint chocolate brownie. So good on you for subscribing. I here am wishing that I had subscribed because I'm about out, and that's painful. It's painful. I even bought a milk frother because I really upped my game of how I take that mint chocolate brownie Unimate. There's some great desserts happening in the Hughes household utilizing that product. But it is coming back. Next, very important update that I'm excited about, and hopefully you start seeing a lot of benefit from, is that we have partnered with Aftership to provide some automated order updates for every step of the way when after you or your customers place an order. And so in addition to the order confirmation email that you already are getting from Unicity, now there will be also emails fully Unicity branded, right? Automated for us that are going to show when the order was processed, when the order is officially shipping, when the order is out for delivery, and when the order has been delivered. And so this has become more of a standard service for a lot of companies, and we're excited that we're now offering it for you. And the big upside of this is we notice one of the most common reasons that customers call in to our customer service team is to ask, hey, can I get an update on where my order is? And already in the last week since we've pushed these live, those requests have dropped by more than 50%. And so I imagine that you will also notice you have fewer of those questions coming to you because it's been very safe for us to say if we're getting a lot of questions to us about something, then all of you amazing distributors are also receiving similar questions from your customers. And so we want to provide a better service for you, but also really help your customers have the information about their orders so that they don't need to go to you. And that's a great update. We're excited about it. The Glick 2027. Hey, we're still running. We're early in the qualification phase for this awesome, amazing trip to the global convention. Now, I've talked with a handful of people who've been asking about, well, what's the company's thought process on making it such a difficult trip? And I wanted to share a little insight on this. And it stems from something that Stuart always shares in the method. And if you're coming in May, you'll hear it again, I'm sure, which you can see the next announcement about May Method is that it's almost full. And so if you're hoping to come in May and haven't registered, I would hop on that this week because there's only about 20 spots left before this one fills up. But what Stuart shares in the method is that 10x is easier than 2x. If I have a goal that's twice as big as what I'm getting now, then the automatic way that I see myself reaching that goal is to work twice as hard. Okay, I'm gonna work do twice as much as what I'm doing to try and get that goal. But if I want to reach a goal that's 10 times bigger than where I'm at, I mean, there's no way I can work 10 times harder than I'm working. It's just not possible. I don't have that much time in the day. And so the only way for me to reach that goal is for me to evaluate what I'm doing and say, all right, what can I change? How can I work this differently to not just 2x my results, but 10x the results I'm getting? And it forces you to look at it with a different attitude and outlook so that you start to really see, wow, I can actually get way more done with the same amount of time. I might not, in some cases, you might not actually feel like you're working harder once you discover that 10x method. And so this is the real reason why we've made this trip such an elite, difficult trip to qualify for, is we want to push you not to 2x your business over the course of this year, but to 10x it. You actually, most of you wouldn't need to 10x your business, but either way, that's the idea, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see all the cases, and we're already starting to see it. There's some amazing achievement happening. March was an incredible month. April is shaping up to be even better, and I think it's just going to be a continuous trend throughout the rest of this year. And so things continue to heat up, which, if things are heating up, maybe there's another Unimate flavor that could be making another appearance soon. So keep an eye out for that. Nothing specific to be shared yet, but as things heat up, well, we could be having something a little more spicy. All right, I'm teasing too much. But those are the small announcements we wanted to share, bring people up to speed. Now is where we're going to start to get into the juicy stuff. And so I'm going to turn the time over and the screen over to Stephanie, who's going to dive into a brand new, never before seen in the public study to share.
Great. Thanks so much, Sam. So let me go ahead, get my presentation up. Thanks for having me back. I'm really excited to be back with everyone tonight. Today, Sam teased it. I'm very excited. We'll be sharing new data that we have on Udemate. And I think you'll find that this data really supports what many of us have already experienced for ourselves in terms of how we feel when we drink Udemate. So our research team recently conducted a study on Unimate and appetite. So first, let's talk about how the study was conducted. This was a human clinical study. Specifically, this is an RCT, which stands for Randomized Controlled Trial. This is widely considered the gold standard for clinical trials. So what we did is we compared the effects of Unimate to a control, which in this case was water. And then we also had 18 total healthy adults participate in this study, and they all completed both tests, Unimate and water, on different days. This is what we call a crossover study, where each person serves as their own control, and it makes for a very strong study design. So let's talk about what we did in the study. So after an overnight fast, participants came to the lab in the morning and then they drank either Unimate or water. Then over the next 90 minutes, we tracked their subjective feelings of appetite with a validated survey. So the survey asked and participants rated how full they felt, how hungry they felt, how satisfied they were, and how much they thought they could eat at that moment. This is a validated scale commonly used in clinical nutrition research. After 90 minutes, after the very last survey, we served what we call an all-you-can-eat meal. Here, the participants could eat as much as they wanted, and we refilled the food periodically. So they didn't really have an idea of how much they were eating in total. And instead, we told them just eat until you feel comfortably full. This way, we can measure how much they eat during a meal. So let's first look at the subjective appetite ratings, or how people felt during this test. So this graph here shows responses to how full do you feel. The positive values show greater fullness, and then negative values below zero mean they're feeling less full. At time zero, the participants drank Unimate or water. So the top line here is Unimate with the open circles. Then the bottom line is water. And we can see that just 15 minutes after drinking Unimate, people already felt 4 times fuller than they did with water at the same time. And you see this difference hold up even 30, 45, 60 minutes later. Now let's compare the whole trend of water versus Unimate over time. So we notice that with water, this lower line with the triangles, fullness declines over 90 minutes. Even from 30 minutes and on, people felt less full than they did at the start. But Unimate completely offset this decline. And even 90 minutes later, people were still just as full as they were at the very beginning. Okay, now this is the really exciting part. This is what happened when it came to lunch. Remember, we provided an all-you-can-eat meal. And just for extra information, this was breaded chicken with sauce and water. And participants didn't know how much they were eating. On the left, you see the control and the total calories they consumed. On the right is Unimate and how many calories they consumed. And so we can see that drinking Unimate reduced caloric intake by about 11% or 150 calories. So this shows that the effect of Unimate wasn't just on the feeling of fullness, but it actually led to a difference in their eating behavior. This is the first time that we've shown in a controlled setting that Unimate leads to measurable reductions in actual food intake. That's a really big deal. So for those of you who love the science, let's talk a little bit about what might be going on here. I want to note that our bodies are very complex and dynamic. So there's undoubtedly a lot of factors contributing to this effect. But let's just bring up one point to consider. This is a study that was done by Dr. Bickman's lab, and he showed that Unimate increases GLP-1 levels in the body. Now you'll know that GLP-1 is an incretin hormone. It's one of the body's primary satiety signals, and it helps you feel fuller. And so we know that Unimate naturally upregulates the body's GLP-1 production. This is just one hypothesis as to why we saw these effects in our study, and it supports Unimate as a natural and evidence-based tool for people who are looking to manage their appetite and their food intake. So, okay, what does this actually mean for you, your friends, your family? Well, what does it mean in the day-to-day first? In the morning, you can drink Unimate to increase fullness as soon as you drink it, even up to 90 minutes. It doesn't break your fast and it doesn't cause a glucose spike. Next, when you are breaking your fast, consider drinking Unimate to leverage that effect so you don't overeat at your next meal. And then third, what does this mean in the long term? So here, I really want to emphasize that these small changes can compound. Think about this effect, 150 calories multiplied over 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, over 365 days a year. That's almost 55,000 calories, which roughly could translate to about 15 pounds. So I want to be clear. I'm not saying that you will lose 15 pounds. I'm saying that Unimate can naturally reduce your caloric intake in a single meal. I'm saying that this is the potential and then the power of Unimate. So what you do with that is up to you. So now, for the first time, we have this clinical evidence showing that Unimate doesn't just change how people feel, but also how much they eat. So I hope you're just as excited as we are about these results and very eager to share with your friends and your family. Thank you, Sam, for this time, and thank you, everyone, for your attention.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was, I mean, when I first saw the results of the study, Stephanie can vouch. I was like, oh my gosh, how do we get this out right away? Because this is a huge deal. I mean, we've had such amazing weight loss results in so many thousands of people using Filgrate. And that was never the focus, right? We've even kind of been opposed to the calorie counting method of weight loss. And we said, hey, just focus on helping heal your insulin resistance. But the fact is, most people in this world of 8 billion who are looking to lose weight are doing it by trying to reduce their caloric intake. And it's something that they do through mostly sheer grit and willpower, and it's terrible, right? Most of us who have tried doing a calorie deficit, it's just like, oh, what an awful way to live. But now you can see how all those people could leverage this tool of Unimate to make it something that is nearly automatic, not even something that they're thinking about. Because none of the people in the study were trying to eat less, right? It was a randomized controlled trial. It was like they couldn't tell how much they'd eaten. It was all based on how full they felt. And so from that, people can automatically start saying, okay, if I want to reduce my caloric intake by 300 calories a day and have a 300 calorie deficit, well, the first step I can start doing is just having Unimate 90 minutes before I eat lunch, 90 minutes before I eat dinner, and they're going to end up right around that spot, which translates to weight loss, which is at the end of the day what most people still want. That's why they're injecting themselves with a GLP-1 most weeks. So this is a very big deal in terms of what we're able to claim this product can do in terms of right reducing your calorie consumption this amount when you take it before and the end outcome as to what most people are willing to spend crazy amounts of money for. So thank you, Stephanie. We're excited to get more of this, study available into the science website, all these sorts of things. And so, but thanks for all the work your team does. It's amazing.
No problem.
All right. So we're so grateful to Stephanie, but she's not the only guest we have on today's call, nor the only exciting announcement. And this actual next announcement, I think, is very related to what we just learned about from Stephanie about Unimate. Um, but what we're going to hear from as our final piece of the announcement section is a new IT update. And so Fenton Hughes will be coming on and sharing an amazing new feature that's just getting released in the Feel Great Fasting app. And it's going to play a big part in what we'll share at the rest of this webinar.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to be here. We keep seeing more and more people use the Feel Great Fasting app. It's getting quite a bit of traction, so much so that this morning I thought our data was off. But it's growing, and it's growing thanks to all the work that you all do as you share Feel Great with people. So there's a few new features that I'll talk about, and then one really exciting one at the end. So first feature, some of you have seen this. There's now food logging, and food logging is not a requirement, but this is an optional thing. If you have a customer who maybe just doesn't understand what foods are causing them problems, you can say, hey, this is free. You can turn it on and give it a shot. In order to turn on food logging, you need to press the gear icon in the bottom left-hand corner where I'm circling it in red. And then you'll go to this edit your dashboard page where you can turn on steps, you can turn on food logging, and there's some great stuff there. The next feature is a feature that allows women who have a cycle to sync their fast with their hormone schedule. And this is a very simplified approach, but it's really simple. And the app will just update the goal for you. So as you get closer to your period, your fasting will relax a little bit, making it easier for people who have concerns about fasting to keep getting results without having to maybe suffer more than they need to. So cycle mode, you'll only see it if you've specified your gender as female in the app. You can do that on the settings page under personal data. But if you do have if you are a female, then you'll see it on the goal page. You can turn on cycle mode. Just an option. So the final feature I want to talk about is a body scan. And we've been looking for a way to help people get a snapshot of their health quickly. And in talking with Dr. Bickman and others about this, we we really like the idea of waist measurement because waist measurement is so correlated with so many important things for metabolic health. But then we came across this software that uses a camera to help calculate your body fat and measure your waist. So it's a little weird. First time, I think it's a little weird for people. You have to be wearing very tight clothing and you have to kind of spin around in a circle in front of the camera. And what happens is then the third party that we've partnered with uses some machine learning and AI in order to produce a report that helps you know your body fat percentage and also see how you compare to average people in your age cohort. Uh, this is really exciting. I think this could be an awesome first step for a lot of people who are starting Feel Great to document their baseline so they know exactly where they have what progress they want to make. And then they can do it again in 3 months and see what happens. Currently, this feature is going to be available for partners, so all distributors can use it, and for customers, members and retail customers who have purchased within 1 year. So it's not open for prospects right now, but that's something we will consider in the future. And yeah, I'll turn it back to Sam. That's all I have. Excited to see uh, excited to see all the progress that comes out of people being able to measure this.
Thanks for emphasizing you're excited to see the progress. We won't actually see the scans. Don't worry. And so you don't need to do your scans in the nude. I recommend actually not doing that. It's best to wear like some tight clothing, swimsuit, some your Speedo if you're European. But yeah, this is a really big deal to have because right, this is what people are most excited about. We talk a lot about the blood test results, and at the end of the day, those are the most important and the most critical, right, measures of how healthy you actually are. But most people don't get super excited and drop a lot of money for their HbA1c. They do it because they want to look better. They want to see some inches go off their waist, and they want to, right, see their body fat percentage increase. And so now it's so much easier for them to see how Unicity is helping them improve in those regards and to really see that progress. Now,
Sam, I forgot to mention one thing. Sorry.
oh, yeah.
Just last thing, quick apology for Android users. It will not be available for you until next week. And I'm sorry, there was just a bug that came up. And for anyone that has concerns about privacy, don't worry. We cannot, yeah, your data is very safe. And our third party is also, we've been super impressed. They really know their stuff. And they're also keeping our data safe. So
Yeah, they really are the best in the game. And as you if you look in the App Store, you're going to find some apps that don't even offer most of the value that you can get from the Feel Great Fasting app, especially with these new additions, and yet are going to charge you money. You know, some of them will charge by the scan. And so the fact that you and your customers can have access to all this for free just because you're working on improving your health using Unicity products is a huge deal. And yes, sorry about the Android users. You'll get it in a week. Should have thought about that before you bought an Android. I don't know what to tell you. Just kidding. I like to tease all of my green message people. Um, but this is gonna play a part right now with the next thing I get to announce. So some of you have been on some of Rav's recent calls, and he's been really focusing a lot on the fact that, hey, we can still all be working on improving ourselves and challenging ourselves to become healthier. I think this is very important topic for us to have at Unicity. We at Unicity want to have this culture of, hey, we can help you dramatically improve your health, and all of us are working at maintaining or improving a top quality health. And so Rav shared a lot about the 3X system and even invited people to participate in a 3X challenge. Now, the challenge that I'll be announcing is a little different than this, but absolutely overlaps. But it's open to anyone and everyone. So let's dive into this. Now, a lot of the people on this call already have a before and after, right? There's the before you came across Unicity, and there's today. And there's some dramatic changes in there. I mean, like there's people that I go and see and I don't recognize them 6 months after I met them because you've transformed so much. And we love that. But what we want to challenge you to do is what if today became your new before? What if the body that you're in today now was your before, and your after was the body that you show up in at on November 7th at the Live Unlocked Challenge and Metabolic Health Conference, Flexibility Conference. Because we should all be looking at saying, okay, let's level up. I've done this much. What can I do next? And so that's what this challenge is all going to be about. Let's all level up from wherever we're at. Whether, right, you're like Shannon Davis and you're pumping out, right, dozens of pull-ups on the pull-up bar, or on the other end of the spectrum, and you're like, hey, I got off my medications, but I'm not yet doing pull-ups. Who cares where you're at right now? The goal is, hey, how can I improve? How can I move to the next level? I want to create as dramatic a before and after story between today and November 7th as I've done up to this point. And I'm going to use the Unicity tools to do it. And maybe use this Unicity challenge to win big with it. And so tonight we're announcing the Live Unlock Challenge that's going to be starting next month, really at the end of this month, and go all the way up until our Metabolic Flexibility Conference, the Live Unlocked Conference in Phoenix, Arizona on November 7th. And all of you can participate. Any of your customers can participate. And a lot of the people who have yet to join will also get a chance to participate in this challenge. So what is the Live Unlock Challenge? Well, before we talk about the details of what it is, I want to tell you what the grand prize winner for who has the most amazing health transformation achievement during the challenge. And I'll give more details about how we're going to, right, evaluate this and everything. But the grand prize winner of the Live Unlock Challenge will receive a full trip package to Thailand for the GLIC, Global Leadership and Innovation Conference. And so this is the only way to get on that trip without reaching presidential director rank. Now, I think if you're on this call, your first plan should be, hey, let's 10x my business and get on the trip the traditional way. But I mean, if you're just a customer, how cool would it be to go to the Global Leadership and Innovation Conference held by Unicity, paid for by Unicity, because I improved my health so much, because I've had such amazing health transformation. And so this is going to be the grand prize winner that we'll announce at the convention. And there's going to be other prizes as well that we'll talk about. But here's the general outline. So April 15th, well, I'd say challenge begins, quote marks. Really, the challenge is going to begin on May 1st. But we have until from now until May 1st to make sure you download the app and get your first scan into the app. We'll actually be uploading the ability to opt in to the challenge onto the app next week. By the end of next week, when you're in the Feel Great Fasting app, you'll see a notification to opt into the Live Unlock Challenge. And then you'll get your before scan and off to the races. And everything from May 1st or even earlier, if you start before that, until at the very latest, October 31st, is up to you to improve your health. And then on November 7th, at the event, we will be announcing live who are the winners of the Live Unlock Challenge. So, how do you join? Well, first step, you got to make sure that you have that Feel Great Fasting app. Make sure you get it downloaded. If you have customers, team members who want to participate, they need to make sure that they get it downloaded as well. And then next week, when our opt-in feature, the ability to opt in to participate in the challenge is live, you'll have to complete that step and make sure that you do your before body scan. And step 3, which I highly recommend to everyone, is also go and get a blood test. Now, like I said, this is not required, but at the end of the day, we're going to be evaluating on some objective measurements to say who really changed their health the most. And the body scan is going to be a big part of this. But if you are also showing us how you improve these different health markers, whatever is interesting to you, right? It could be your A1C, it might be other aspects. It could be your cholesterol, your triglycerides, it could be your testosterone. It could be, right? Who knows? But look at your health and say, how do I want to improve? And make sure you have before and after markers of you doing that. And the more you can collect about your story, right? The before period right now and leading up to May, the journey of what you're doing, what products are you using, what things did you add in? Did you start being more diligent about what you're eating? Did you leverage Unimate to cut down on your calorie consumption? Did you start exercising, doing some routine? Whatever it is, right? You're keeping track of that. You're doing body scans in the app throughout the way, seeing your progress. And then you submit your final body scan, and there'll be a small video submission for you to tell a little bit about your story. And that'll all get submitted before October 31st. And then we will be announcing the winners at the event. So, grand prize winner, like I said, is that Thailand trip. This is a really big prize because this is an elite trip. This is one of the best trips we'll have ever done. And so it's going to be all presidentials and our winner of the Live Unlock Challenge. And then there'll also be 2 runners up that are each going to receive $2,000 cash prize. So not a bad prize for being a runner up. And then we'll have other product prizes and swag for some additional standout transformations. The trip will be for you and a guest. Everyone, all the qualifiers for this trip are able to bring a +1. So, yes, Rav is right. Incredible value, and one of the best hotels that you'll ever stay at, probably. But let's talk a little bit about how we're measuring these. I kind of touched on it, but these are all mostly things that the app is going to do for you. And so right there, we're going to be able to see your fat mass reduction over time from your body scans. Also, how much lean mass have you maintained or gained through that? And so stronghold is going to be a huge advantage in having a great success and result in this Live Unlock Challenge. There's no other product I'm aware of that is going to do as good of a job helping you maintain or gain lean mass, especially if you're reducing your fat mass during the same time. Body measurements will also be a really big deal. As you're losing inches from certain spots, or let's say you start out as a skinny guy like me, and you have certain measurements like your biceps, your chest, your shoulders that are getting bigger, then that's going to be worth value. And so it's not just about losing weight. If your goal is to get fitter, get stronger, then that's going to factor in as well. This will all be calculated in it. And then if you share your blood marker improvement of how you improved with your blood health, those will also get factored in because they are objective measurements. And that's how we will calculate who is the big grand prize winner, who are the runners up, who are some other amazing stories and transformations we can share. So this I'm so excited. Now, there's obviously a big business angle to this because your customers can participate in this challenge. And all of your existing customers can download the app and they'll be able to opt into this next week as well. And going forward, I mean, after May 1st, there'll still be opportunities for people who are joining Unicity as distributors or customers to opt in. Now, they're at a little bit of a disadvantage in a sense because they'll have less time than you have to be working on your transformation. But either way, we know that in short time, people can have amazing results with our products. And so there'll be three main winners, the grand prize and the two runners up, and then we'll see. We'll see how many additional, right, honorable mention winners there are. Um, for the blood test, great question, Peter. He asked, what are you looking for in the blood test? What we're looking for is that it's done by an accredited lab and it's related to your metabolic health. But that's it. You choose the markers that are most important to you. And that's what you should focus on because we don't want to dictate what exactly you need to focus on for this challenge. And you just say, hey, what are the areas that I'd most like to improve on between today to November 7th? And make sure that you get those tested now and then at the end. But we are going to be creating different materials that we can send to your clients so that you can motivate them to participate. We'll be right contacting them and informing them about this challenge as well as soon as the opt-in is ready to go and they can download the app and opt in. And so the best thing about this is that the clients who come in to participate in this challenge, they're not so much the type of customers that, all right, let me try this for a month and see what I think. But they're saying, all right, here's the tools that I want to use to really transform my health over the next 6 months. And by the time they've done that, well, most of them are probably going to be distributors, but either way, they'll be very locked in, right? They're going to be fully believers of how big of an impact Unicity products can have on their health. So this is a great tool to be using as you're getting committed customers to buy into changing their health. And so if you haven't already downloaded the app, then feel free, ready to go. Scan this. That'll help you download it. Like I said, later on next week, we'll be having the opt-in in the app. That's when it'll be officially you able to opt in, sign up for the challenge. Make sure you get a scan in right after that. And then it's off to the races. A few key things to know. Oh yeah, the 3X pack, if you want to use those tools, that's available right now. You can go on and order the 3X pack, but any and all products are on the table for this. Like I said, you decide what are the tools that you want to use. There's not going to be a requirement that you have to be buying a certain amount of product each month. Some people might be using just the classic Feel Great, and other people might be doing Feel Great, Everyday Protein, Signal, Stronghold, right? 3 Stronghold a day. Who knows? You decide what you want to do and what are the tools that are going to help you get to where you want to go. Um, and for the blood test, so it needs to be at least this year. Actually, I would say at least since April 1st. And so if it's before April 1st, then that will be a little too outdated to qualify for this specific challenge. Since we might have people who, if they chose January 1st, have already, right, reversed their type 2 diabetes. And it wouldn't be quite fair to use that as their before. So anyway, March 30th, we'll let that slide. That's close enough. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds here. But the other very important thing to note is that to be eligible to win the challenge, because we're announcing it live at the event, you will need to be at the event on November 7th. Now, tickets are not yet available. Those will be going live next month. We'll share more details about that. I'm very excited about it. But once it is live, obviously you want to make sure you get a ticket so you can be present at the event. And as your customers get excited about it, what a great way to get them also bought in about attending the event. So On that note, let's go live unlocked. Time to kind of break free of whatever you feel like has been keeping you at your current moment. Get out of the comfort zone, leverage the tools. Let's go live a better life with more freedom. That's what Unicity is all about, both with the business aspect and the health aspect. And so, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. We're very excited about this. More information will be coming to your emails and into back office. And of course, your questions are always welcome. But we cannot wait for all the great things that you're going to do and all the great stories this is going to cultivate for you and your teams. So, on that note, have a wonderful evening and we wish you the best. See you soon. I didn't queue up any music, so we're just going to do a quick wrap up on this one. Have a good night, everyone.